We're live streaming. Are we on air?
Who are you talking to?
I don't know. Wait, now want to see us podcast? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, we should get a little closer.
Get some closer here.
How do you even watch this?
I don't know. That's what I was asking you guys.
I didn't get any kind of alert.
Well, we are live right now.
No, I know. That's all right. I think we're live.
Page.
Huh?
I don't know. Hi.
What? I'm on that. Okay. Well, hey everyone. This is the 8-Bit Podcast, episode 10. It's been a few weeks
We're
again.
both doing tens.
That's how I do 10.
Yeah, so 10,
This is how I do 10. So, and today we decided to Facebook Live this as well so that people out there that probably wondering who are those beautiful voices like actually attached to face-wise. Well, here we are. So...
Some people have paid
Make
me...
sure you're talking to the mic.
Oh, yeah.
Or is it sounding in well?
Some people have paid me the ultimate compliments, though, and said that podcast is awesome. You have a face made for radio or something like that.
I've been told that before,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
was never even podcasting.
Right.
So I don't know what that was supposed to be.
Right.
But I don't know. But, yeah. So, anyways, we're back. We're ringing a bell. We're rocking on the mic while the Fly Girls yell.
We're trying to get We're trying to get Facebook Live queued up over here so that we can see all of your
I'm
comments
trying to watch
and
too,
likes
and
and loves.
yeah,
and,
it's kind of working here. But
Thanks yourself.
yeah,
So, all right. So, last night, what did you do last night? Did you watch any sporting events?
what did I?
There's not.
Yeah, I know. That's what I figured. I watched West Virginia.
Yeah.
West Virginia, as you well know or may not know, is their athletics department is a client of ours. So we root on the Mountaineers whenever we can.
We do. It was a tough game to watch last night. The Mountaineers had they're known as Press Virginia because they play the press and they put a lot of stress on the defense, the offense I should say, and they were killing it on defense, but couldn't make a shot to save their lives.
Phil and I were texting back and forth, and we were just like, "What is going on here? They should be up by like 40 right now."
I know.
That was hard to watch, and then they ended up losing by 3.
Well, and I usually root for Gonzaga too.
Yeah.
I've rooted for them for a long time, but now that they're playing West Virginia, I couldn't root for them. And
Then last week, the Lady Mountaineers, the women's basketball team, they lost. So
yeah,
a rough week for Mountaineer basketball.
yes, but they did have a bright side. And what was that?
So they have a rifle team that won their 3rd straight national championship. So
Good job, Brad. Oh, right.
I don't know if you knew that.
And if you remember, they were also the first gold medal of the Rio Olympics. Is that not true?
Yes.
I like how I just set you up. I like I'm interviewing.
Well, it
you
was
here.
one of their team members, which it's escaping me now because I wasn't prepared for that. But
True. I mean, it was a team member
Yeah, it
from
was.
it
Yeah,
wasn't
she's-
necessarily
yeah.
West Virginia themselves.
right,
It looks like we have dozens of followers right now watching us live.
it's pretty awesome.
By dozens, I mean 4.
No, one just left.
uh,
They're not liking that.
No.
Oh, no, we got another
we
one.
got another one.
Yeah. Anyways, so yeah, it's been a wild week or so with the old March Madness and yeah, having a client having some what do you say, a horse in the race.
Yeah, it's nice having a
It's
horse in the
super
race.
fun, but it's also kind of devastating when they lose. So
This year we had kind of 2 horses in the race with the Minnesota Gophers, but they got bounced the first round. I'm not going to say I picked that to happen in my bracket, but I did.
yeah, I kind of figured it was going to happen too, but
Yeah, so those of you listening via the podcast probably hear 2 of us right now, but anybody doing the Facebook Live is like, what's going on over here?
Hey Phil, there's a guy sitting on your left.
Just some random
I don't know
guy
when
sitting
he
here.
showed up.
Sitting here looking clueless.
Yeah, anyway, so I want to welcome, this is Jan Christensen.
Hey everybody.
So we kind of teased, I think we teased this last time, didn't we?
Yeah, you had a doctor's appointment or something last time.
Oh yeah, you couldn't.
Something.
He's
We
like,
talked-
oh, I
we
can't be on your
talked about
podcast.
Right.
No, I'm just kidding. No, so Jan is he's our digital developer. He's brings a lot of experience to Creative Arcade. Jan and I worked together, boy, 15
around 15 years ago.
15 years ago we started working together.
And I started working with you guys about 14 years ago. I had to reverse math.
Oh yeah, so we actually more than that then. So 99. So what was that? Do the math. I'm not good at math. 18 years ago.
Yeah.
This guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Put up with me for a long time.
I wouldn't call it putting up with you. I think it's the other way around. No, but we've been really excited that the stars aligned where we could bring Jan on board, and he's already done some amazing work with us, and very, very, ecstatic just to have you on board. So
I'm happy to be here.
Yeah.
It's been fun.
yeah, so tell us a little more about yourself, I guess.
Work, personal.
Yes.
Whatever you want,
Yes,
whatever you feel comfortable sharing.
As personal as you can get.
Oh, that's awkward and creepy
Talking to
at the same
microphone.
time. I've been doing, as Jeff said, I've been doing web development for right around 20 years now, as well as application development, and just I love doing that kind of work. It's a lot of fun. And for me, the fun part about it, especially being here, is being able to collaborate with you guys as designers and merge the technology with the art side of things, and it's really exciting. Outside of that, I know nothing about sports. That's why I was so quiet in the first section. But interest outside of this, I one of my favorite things that I'm trying to do is flying drones, quadcopters, involved in martial arts. I also am an assistant pastor at my church, so there's a little bit about me. But I love what we do here.
Yeah, we love what you do here too. No, it's been great. And real quick side note with Jan, when I started out years ago with him, I knew nothing about the web, and outside of how to browse to a website, and it was a perfect marriage because I learned so much from you guys, for yourself and a couple of our past colleagues, and then I feel like I taught you guys some things too.
Oh, absolutely.
And so it's been it was always a nice compliment to each other,
Yeah.
and so the fact that we kind of come full circle is pretty awesome. So,
Yeah, when you first came on board, I knew the technical side of things, but had never had to work with an artist or designer, and that was a learning process.
And you still never have.
Oh yeah! Woo! I love this.
That was a cheap chat.
Yeah, it's good
Hey, it looks
stuff.
like we got some likes and some comments there. What do we got?
Mailbox
Sean-
Bill.
Yeah, Sean Thompson's waiting for the bowling ball to roll across our bowling ball table.
That's awesome.
I like that. Good eye, Sean.
Yeah, it's a nice table. I like it.
Shannon says hi, Jeff.
What she does? Oh no, she said hi, Jan.
Oh, hi, Jan.
yeah.
See, that's farther away than I
Yeah,
can
she
read.
don't.
I can't
She
read
doesn't like me.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
My wife says hi.
Of course she does.
What's next on the agenda here?
Well, so one thing I think we should talk about, we've never talked about before, is this idea of 8-bit labs. You know what I'm talking about?
I've heard of it.
Yeah. So at Creative Arcade, part of our culture, well, a main part of our culture is we believe in the power of play, and what that means is just being curious, working with our clients, really digging in and getting to know the ins and outs of who we're working with, and also having, on the curious side, doing other things outside of just the normal design marketing, and that can be related in a lot of different ways. And I know lately, as we're working on a website redo, we've been thinking about what are some other technologies that we can bring into this that we've seen, we admired. I know Jan, you've done some things with that.
Yep.
And for us, we're learning a little bit ourselves. Some of it I've seen before, but never actually put a name to it before. And so now the fact that I can put a name with the actual technology and have you know what you're doing with it is pretty amazing. So I don't know, what are some of those things that, if you want to talk about what some of the things you've been playing around with lately that we are considering to be part of 8-bit labs, kind of our exploratory kind of learning area.
Exploratory.
Like knowledge
Like a
base.
laboratory.
Like a lab.
Yes.
We should call it 8-bit labs.
We should call it a lab. Yeah,
Right, that'd be
there's
cool.
an idea.
Yeah.
It's been one of the exciting things about web development over the years is to see the progression in technology from when we started doing this a couple decades ago. That
Yeah.
makes it sound old. to see what's available now that we can incorporate into design and a digital presence for companies, and things that a while ago would have taken special plugins or particular software to run are now embedded right in browsers. Some of the things that we've been experimenting with lately have been some of the technology available, like HTML5 capabilities with the Canvas object, where you can draw and animate right within HTML, or WebGL, which lets you render 3D graphics right within a browser. And these technologies don't require any software outside of a browser. Of course, it has to be newer browsers, and then browser support, particularly with WebGL, you have to be careful with browser support. But then other tools like Adobe Animate and some of these projects that let you do some crazy animation and rendering and visual effects just embedded right in a browser. Whereas before we had technology like Flash, where you had to have a special plugin installed. You don't need those kinds of plugins anymore, and it's really exciting to be able to explore those, and see how we can use those to meet client needs and our own needs.
Yeah, I think I mean, obviously for clients, if there's a good reason to use them, definitely going to. But even for us, like there's some of that culture of the idea of the power of play, where we've already looked at a bunch of different ways we can maybe use that, and it's pretty exciting. And I know it gets my wheels turning to the point where sometimes I'm like, oh my God, stop thinking about this. It's too cool, right? But
pick one.
Well, and from my point of view, it's, Jan can do anything. So when we say, what do we want to do on this part of our website? You say, well, whatever you want. It just blows my mind, because I'm trying to have, the right way to do this, but yet not have it just because we can do it. Yeah. I don't want to do it. I want it to make sense and have the design / function that works, and a nice blend of the two.
It's absolutely something you have to balance. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should.
Yeah.
And so it's fun to explore and find where that balance point is.
Right.
And how to use this.
What's nice about Facebook Live is we get to see how much we talk with our hands, where
I get teased all the time. My wife jokes around because I'll be on the phone and wave at someone. Now I actually have somebody to wave at.
Paul Carlin just said, nice table. Thanks, Paul.
Thanks.
Hey, Paul, did you see the people behind the table? We're here too.
Yeah.
That's funny. So, total sidetracking us here, talking about talking with our hands. I feel like I can't have longer conversations without pacing and walking around the room. Is that, you guys do that? Am I the only one that does this?
No, I pace, especially when I'm on the telephone.
Yeah.
I pace all the time.
Yeah, like this room in here. I come up here and do laps on the table.
It's not good. Yeah.
Well, that's not like a psychological thing or anything.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm looking at something across. Oh, forget it. I thought I saw something.
We're being told there's a voice delay on Facebook Live.
Oh, well. I have no idea.
Do we have to talk slower?
Oh, well.
What's the topic? I don't know. You tell us. Just kidding. That was from Paul as well.
Yeah.
No, actually, there is a topic today. So thanks for all that. I mean, that's fun. I think you're going to see more things from 8-Bit Labs, I think, over time, and especially when we get our new website done, we'll have to dial it in a little bit more, and amongst other things, a lot of work to show, and more thoughts and things in our blog that we want to share. Which, real quick plug. The other day we launched a blog post related to smart marketing. So smart marketing goals, especially with the new quarter coming up. There's a great template for free that you can download out of that blog to help you with your business or organization and some of your own marketing goals. So we'll talk more about what that all means, maybe in a different episode, but or if you read the blog, you get at least a little bit of taste of that. Yeah. So. And
where can you find our blog?
It's blog.creativearcade.design. So there's 2 dots in there.
Correct.
Ding! That's kind of like the SNL skit with the... I forget what they said.
Sweaty balls?
Oh, yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, thanks for saying it. I was too embarrassed to say it. Just kidding. No, but so this kind of leads into is we were talking a little bit about the smart marketing goals piece, but which is obviously allows people a lot of ways of thinking about how do I come up with these goals? What are some of those things I want to do with that? I know for us, like at any project, we find that there's a long process involved, and I think today we just want to really quick talk about research and discovery. We've had a lot of projects the last few months that have required that, and although a lot of times I think we'd like to always use an outside research firm if possible, or help with that, because people that do nothing but that are very special people. I mean, it's a lot of work to put that kind of stuff together, but sometimes there's barriers to that. Could be timing, sometimes it's budget, not all the time, but a lot of times it's timing. And trying to be quick and nimble, that can get you going. No, but
That was my hi-hat symbol.
that's your hi-hat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where was I?
About going crazy about ninjas or something.
Ninjas.
I go crazy nice. No.
Oh. No, what I was talking about was this research, and so we've had a few projects lately where we've actually conducted some of our own. There's a lot of great online research softwares out there. I mean, I could name a bunch of them, and a lot of them do some of the similar type things. But we've had a lot of luck with website projects. We've had a lot of luck with branding projects, learning a lot about people just through surveys. Developing surveys, and also with that, because they're online, because we can hit a variety of people, is then using things like Facebook and using things like email lists, email marketing to ultimately get to very specific targets, so we can kind of doctor up those surveys and those things we want to get from them, right in those specific pieces, and get differing kinds of answers. I don't know. I mean, it's been one of those things that I know 10 years ago, you pretty much always, a lot of times, had to use some kind of outside help for research, unless you were lucky enough to have marketing people or market research people right on board. But I mean, some of the tools nowadays are amazing.
I think if you're using an outside research firm, or if we're doing it internally for a client, or a client maybe even does it themselves, it's a boatload of work. It's way more work than I ever think it is. Every single time I go into it, I think this will be quick, we'll get some answers, but it really is. I mean, we're doing a lot of research ourselves to find out the right questions to ask and where to send these to the right people, and it's a lot of work. And I think what's great about it, though, is getting those results back, and either finding out what we already knew, just confirming it, and saying, we are right, this is the way we should go, or finding some new discoveries, new avenues that we didn't think of, or a lot of times we're getting suggestions on past from clients, if it's past service or past products, things like that. People don't hold back in surveys a lot. I think, well, sometimes they do, but it's really telling, instead of asking people directly sometimes. But
I know, Janet, you've been doing a lot of stuff with Google Analytics lately, and I mean, they're even thinking out, that's usually the analytics side, is usually an ongoing or after the fact, or after a project is done, or obviously a site is live and you're trying to gain some insights into what's actually happening there. But I mean, a lot of times that can also dovetail into the next project potentially too, where what you're learning is maybe going to influence some of the survey questions or things that something like that. So I don't know.
And you can even, if you have access to being able to tap into those kinds of analytics going into a project, it even relates to the technology that we're experimenting with and learn and using, because what kind of technology is available to your target, your target market, and you're not going to want to incorporate technology in that they can't use or see.
Right. Well, what's the point?
Yeah.
Ultimately, you still have to communicate some message or some kind of piece of content, or want them to do something very specific, and so no, that makes sense. So I just think about process and think about marketing goals, and just thinking about the process it takes depending on whatever you're trying to do or need to do. Starting with good foundation is paramount, and so that's where some of those tools online can really get you far without having to spend a lot of money all the time, or spending a ton of time. It still takes time, but I mean, in the grand scheme of things, you can reduce that immensely. So Anyway, so that was something just today. I mean, thinking about.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's kind of a cliche thing you hear all the time, but essentially it boils down to know your audience, whether that's the technologies they're using, or how to reach them, or everything in between.
Right.
What kind of advertising they're going to see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or again, in the web world, you know, even like, well, what kind of platform would be best here? Not only from the, you know, some of our clients, their ultimate customers, but also those maintaining or presenting or putting content into the site.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what's the right CMS? What's the right back end structure to build so that it's easy for this specific situation? Because not all are always the same kind of learning curve or you name it. You know, so anyways, just some food for thought as we kind of dropped that smart marketing piece this week, and we'll obviously talk more about that in our blog and podcasts to come. But that was just one thing I know we were just talking about before, is just the power of some of that research and the discovery phase and a lot of stuff that we do. So, anyways, yeah, some good Friday thoughts.
I think so.
Yeah.
Well, we have the Facebook Live going right now, and there may or may not be a little bit of a delay, but one of the things we brought up last time, and we'll probably bring it up for any foreseeable podcast, is if you have any suggestions out there, we'd love to hear, and the topics you want us to talk about, goofy things you want Jeff to do on it. Made it up.
Yeah.
Some questions.
Right. We do have a stack of questions from the last podcast, right?
Yeah, they're right here.
Yep.
They're there's some paper handling your own, I guess. No, we don't.
No suggestions.
No suggestions.
Just
keep doing what we're doing, I guess.
Everybody loves what we're doing so much that they're like, just keep going.
Hey, we got 4 people watching.
Keep trucking, right?
We got 4 people watching.
I thought we'd end with a little story today.
What's the story?
Jeff and I.
I knew this. Yeah.
Jeff and I went, and I shared this with some people on Facebook on my personal page. But yesterday, Jeff and I went to lunch, and we had to park a block and a half away or so, and we're walking down the sidewalk, and this car pulls up in the middle of the street and stops, and this older lady rolls down her window and yells out the window, "Hey, you going to lunch? You going to lunch too?" And I think Jeff and I were both kind of confused. I
thought it was your aunt or something.
I thought she knew you. You thought she knew me.
Because she was talking to you, and I'm like, oh, Phil knows someone superior today.
So we kind of, we're going to lunch. And she just sat there with a silly grin on her face and said, "You don't recognize me, do you?"
Nope.
No.
Not at all.
She said, well, you're my doctor.
And I'm like, no.
Well, first I thought, what, me? No, I'm not a doctor.
Right.
She's like, no, him.
I'm like, no, not a doctor.
But, Jeff wore a tie yesterday, and he looked really fancy. And I
don't wear ties very often, so.
I don't remember you wearing a tie
really?
At all before.
Yeah, it happens once in a while. Yeah, happens once in a while.
But she said, and then she said, well, you look just like him. I kind of just left it at that and walked away. But
yeah, I told her, I said, hey, good health to you.
Yeah, that's right. We've had a lot of fun laughing about that.
Yeah, that was funny. We couldn't stop laughing during lunch then either.
Looks like we got a question on Facebook Live over here.
Oh, hey Jan, have you found Google Analytics to be missing anything that as a business owner I should be capturing from a web analytics perspective?
That's a deep question.
Wow, that is. We just start off with
Thank you, Shannon.
Heavy questions. In terms of things that are missing. It's really good at keeping track of search analytics and some of the technical side of things and tracking users' routes through a website. But sometimes in terms of marketing, it doesn't do such a great job of helping you with the content that's on your site necessarily and helping you pinpoint that as well as other platforms could. I know there's other platforms we've worked with that give you better insights into some very specific marketing things. And so there are some gaps in analytics, and my best recommendation is you would want to combine Google Analytics with other types of platforms or research tools that you can use to target content a little bit better. Off the cuff, that's probably the best answer I can come up with.
Yeah.
Well, I would say having you helps a lot too, because I can do analytics, and I have many accounts that have analytics on them, and I can read a lot of the basics. But for you to really dive in there and not only be able to read it better, but also interpret it exactly, or be able to say, okay, now I know exactly where to fix this on such and such website to maybe help the analytics of this where I have a gap there myself.
Analytics can tell you very well what pages might have a problem on your site, but not necessarily how to fix it. And I think that's where some of the gap might come in for people, particularly from a business perspective. Is it'll show you problem areas of your site, but not what to do.
Yeah.
And the best way to go about fixing that. So yeah, that was a good point.
I would say though too, to just I think part of with analytics, this is like anything. The things you don't know is you don't know. Mm-hmm. I think if to your point too is working with someone that does know what some of the other things it can do, mm-hmm. can also lead to, again, going back to that knowing your audience and planning and all that kind of stuff, is even to know, well, what are the goals that I want to set and how am I going to track those things and what's going to be successful. Yep. Because sometimes you don't necessarily know, like to Sharon's point, is there anything missing? Well, mm-hmm. if you don't necessarily know what you're missing out on, mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Does that make sense a little bit? Like, you almost got to kind of know, well, what you don't know. These are things I'd like to know, and can this do this? Mm-hmm. Or is there a way we can set this up to do that? I think that's mm-hmm. also something that I would say sometimes it's not so much that the analytics maybe not do it, you just maybe don't know that you need to be looking, or you want to be looking for that.
And the amount of information, Google Analytics is a great tool, and I love working with it. But the amount of information there can be overwhelming, and you can mm-hmm. kind of miss the forest for the trees, so to speak. Yep. It is an overwhelming amount of data. Yeah. And then so it helps to have someone that you can work with to kind of translate that.
Sure.
We've also run into clients too that have us analyze their analytics, but don't really have it installed correctly onto their website. Mm-hmm. So
that's true.
I mean, that can be a problem too. Yeah, it's not firing correctly, and
so if there's something missing, and there's also a lot you can do in terms of scripting and implementing it. Is you can start adding manual events to sites to trigger when somebody clicks on a specific button. Yep. Is analytics gives you an overall broad view of the traffic and the time they spend on a page and where they're going. But it doesn't necessarily give you an idea of whether someone clicked on a social button in your footer to tell if your footer is working the way you want it to work, or if someone is playing a media file on your website. And you can go in and do some scripting and some other work to actually capture those kinds of events and those kinds of interactions on the site. And that's where I would think that will let you kind of fine-tune your content a little bit better, kind of what I was referring to before, where it takes a little bit more technical knowledge to go in and add those kinds of triggering.
Yeah. Well, in that case too, totally like that. And that's where things like landing pages or everything, what the whole buying process of going from clicking on something, whether that's already within the site or if it's being an ad that you took to a part of your site, into a landing page or a very specific thing, and if you've got ways to show not only that the traffic to that, but then them actually converting mm-hmm. with you, becoming a lead, and there's that whole piece. Depending on what you're selling. Mm-hmm. Those things also come into play, and that's also, again, planning and knowing mm-hmm. what you want out of it and what things you're trying to sell, and so overall, I mean, it kind of comes down to that too. So, but that was a good question, Shannon.
Thank you, Shannon.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah. Well, we're probably gonna wrap this up, but if you have any other suggestions, you can go to our website at creativearcade.design and go to the contact page and fill that out, and with other questions. Yeah. Maybe we'll have a specific spot here in the future just for podcast questions.
Yeah, that was fun.
The live portion that works nicely too.
Mm-hmm.
Then we can think on our feet.
Yeah. Well, this was fun. Fun. So I'm glad we're implementing some of our live capabilities now too. So
yes.
Yeah, so that's great. All right. Well, until next time, it's been the 8-Bit Podcast. Jeff, Phil, and Jan, and thanks for listening, and some of you today watching, and. Talk to you next time.
Bye.
Bye. All right. See ya.